Testing, one, two, three, testing. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. I don't know if anyone can hear me, but I'm gonna get my setup going here. I love how I'm always on time whenever I schedule a live. Well, I schedule it like 5 minutes in advance, but still, that counts as being on time. But I'm gonna give you guys a second to come in while I fix everything up here and get some water. So hold on. Okay, I actually decided I'm gonna brew some tea instead of just drinking water because I ate some bullshit today. I literally had some greasy ass mac and cheese. I don't normally eat like that, but I haven't had mac and cheese since like when was the last time I ate mac and cheese? I don't know. Maybe like a few months ago was the last time I had it, so I need to like digest that. Otherwise, I'm pretty much fucked. But let's see if anybody's in the chat. Actually, let me log on to my YouTube so I can like make sure. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Does everything look okay? Well, there's nothing on the screen. It's just my little avatar. But hold on, let me go on my YouTube page. And you know what I just thought about? I need some more mods on here. But yeah, I just missed talking to the Exoticals. I got home early tonight and I'm pretty much going to miss my deadline tomorrow for my clients. So that means that I have some extra time to chat with the Exoticals so we can talk about our exotical tax. How are you going to play an ad on my own YouTube channel? I'm literally trying to click on my channel and it's like playing me an ad. Okay. So it looks like I am actually live on YouTube, so that's good. By the way, be sure to join the Patreon if you haven't already. Thank you for everybody who's been supporting. You can also join the members page. So that's two different things. Sometimes people ask if it's the exact same thing. No, the members page, it has two tiers. And then on the members page, that's extra videos. And then the Patreon is audios. So if you're somebody who binges my content, or maybe you listen to my content when you're at work or something, and you just need like hours upon hours of content. I mean, I do the same thing, honestly. That's how I started listening to Ashira Star Goddess, or you guys know her as Shira 7. Part of how I started listening to her was because I just needed some long content to listen to on my hikes. So yeah, if you're just looking for bingeable content, you can just go to the Patreon. It's easier for me to upload on there just because it's only audios. And then if you're looking for extra videos, basically like an extension of what's already on my YouTube channel, so like more in depth, then you can go on the members page. So yeah, the Patreon is also a totally separate platform as well. I do like the Patreon because it's a little bit less censored than the YouTube algorithm. So I have received strikes on this channel before, so I have to lay low a little bit. I'm waiting for one of my strikes. Once this strike expires, I'm going to go back to acting a fool. My strike is going to expire, I think, in a couple weeks. So The Quiet Architect Exotic Beauty says, finally catching alive as I do my skincare. This will be worth the wait. Yeah. So the title of this live is How to Be Stuck Up, Conceited, and Build Your Superiority Complex, because bitches want to stereotype us and they get mad regardless of what my titles are. Like literally every single title, every single clickbait, every single joke that I make on here, people are going to take it seriously. So why not just ruffle some feathers today? So yeah, you guys know I don't actually support hierarchy thinking, but it's like if you're going to stereotype me as being stuck up, then fuck it. Um okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, so that's good. I was just going to ask like, wait, am I talking to myself? Hold on, let me see if my tea is finished brewing. 1 second. Okay, hello. Why am I acting like I'm on the phone right now? That was so random. Um, okay, so I just brewed my licorice root tea. So that's just sitting there right now next to me. I have my little robe on. I'm just trying to be cozy right now, and I was doing some laundry because I literally had no towels left. Like, how do you run out of towels in your entire apartment? I don't know, but that's what happened to me. So I had to do my laundry. I have no laundry basket, so anytime I like don't fold the clothes, they just pile up on top of the dryer. And then when I open the laundry closet, like sometimes clothes will fall out because that's how big of a pile there is. So if you hear the dryer going in the background, it's because I have my fanny pack in there too. I don't know if you're supposed to wash fanny packs and put them in the dryer, but you know the Lululemon fanny packs for when you're like working out? That's in there. So it's kind of loud right now. I hope you guys can't hear it. Mimosa Please says, hey, pretty ladies. Hope you all had a blessed mommy day. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to the Exotical mothers. So I personally am child free, but I have a lot of respect for the Exotical mothers who want to be mothers and they enjoy being mothers. And then if you do not have a mother, if you're not a mother or if you don't have a mother, I hope that you used Mother's Day to nurture yourself. We do talk about that on the Patreon, kind of like reparenting yourself, nurturing yourself. Um, Mary Posas says, hey, Queen, I was just in the Discord asking when you're going live. Yeah, I'm live. We hear you. Hello. Yellow Rose Blossoms. Shout out to all the Pretty Girl Club. Oh my gosh. I always get excited when I can talk to you guys on here. Butterbean Baby 777. Please, will this be saved? I've already had my sleep tea, but want to watch so bad. Yeah. Usually when I stream, I keep them up unless it like gets demonetized or something, or I don't know. There would have to be some sort of reason for me to like hide it. But yeah, all my other streams are up, so this one should be. Princess Jasmine says, hi, EU. I'm eating dinner and listening in. Yeah, we're just having a pretty girl club meeting about how to be stuck up, conceited, and build your superiority complex. Oh, so I made that video earlier. Like I uploaded that video, the JT video, and somebody commented and she's like, oh, you're not showing grace towards JT from the City Girls. Well, excuse me. I didn't know I was freaking Jesus Christ. Why are you in our comments section asking the almighty Exoticals for grace? Do you see what I mean when I say women worship us? It's like you're asking the Exoticals for mercy and grace. Anytime we talk about women from another community, it's, oh, you need to have grace on them. Well, you need to have mercy. Well, you need to have forgiveness. You need to forgive them for bullying you. I'm like, what? Are we the almighty? Like, why are you expecting us to be the almighty? That's why I say it's like we are the almighty Exoticals. We hear you. The quiet architect says, yes, we hear you. Okay, good. I saw the title and immediately, oh yeah. So I titled it this just to like be a bitch, basically. And also, one of the Exoticals was talking about how she missed when I would do like dark femininity content. So, I kind of miss doing that as well. So this is going to be a dark femininity stream. But I did put a little bit of notes in my phone for the topic today. So, how to be stuck up and conceited. Step one is to get rid of all dusty bitches and block them. So, if you have any dusty bitches in your life, how do you know if a bitch is dusty? Well, I feel like there are a couple of qualities that a dusty bitch would have. But by the way, anybody can be a dusty. She could be black, white, she could be an exotical, she could be a dustotical. Okay, so you got the exoticals, then you got the dustoticals, which are the monocultural ones. They try to pull you back into unambiguous blackness. Those are the women who have the mindset of, if I don't get a pedestal, you don't either. So, there are different species of dust. There are different levels of dustiness. So it's very important for the Pretty Girl Club to be well versed on what type of dust we're dealing with because, we got to be able to avoid it. But this pretty girl says, I have been called all these things. I love it because I enjoy repelling the dust. Yeah, and have you ever noticed that whenever people call someone stuck up, it's literally just a girl who's like pretty and confident. If you are beautiful and confident, you're going to be called stuck up. If you're from the suburbs, you're stuck up. If you speak proper English, you're stuck up. If you're educated, you're stuck up. If you have boundaries, you're stuck up. If you are an introvert, you're stuck up. Pretty much if you're not a hood booger in the black community, you are definitely going to be called stuck up. If you don't sleep around, like if you don't want to sleep with a guy, or if you don't lower your standards for something, you're going to be called stuck up. I was just talking about how I was hanging out with this girl. Well, I had to cut her off. She did happen to be an unambiguous girl, but I stopped hanging out with her because we literally had to pause the hangout so we could go stop and get some nasty food. That is dusty behavior. If you are prioritizing disgusting processed food, you're prioritizing that over building friendships. And then we have to go out of the way just so we can get your nasty ass, greasy ass food that's going to make you fat. It's going to make all of us fat. Nobody else wants that food except you. That is dusty behavior. So it's very important to spot the symptoms of dust. YouTube love and ad. Yeah, I might buy the actual, you know what? And I think they're trying to like low key scam people. Well, I shouldn't call it a scam. How am I going to be a YouTuber and talk shit about YouTube? Oh my God. But no, it's like, I feel like on YouTube, they want you to buy the YouTube Red thing or whatever it is, the subscription thing, so that you don't have to do the ads. And it's so irritating because whenever I try to fall asleep, so I fall asleep with content on. But depending on the content, some of them have ads. And so I'm over here trying to sleep. And then suddenly a freaking ad pops up out of nowhere. And then the ad's volume is always much louder than the video. So then it just pops out of nowhere. Yeah. So I might have to get the little subscription thing. I'm like, they just want to annoy you enough so that you have to get the subscription thing. I've been listening to Conceited by Remy Ma all day. Confirmation. Oh, wow. So do you guys believe in like signs or whatever? You know how like in some manifestation community, I think they call it synchronicity actually. Yay, someone gave it a super chat. Thank you, Miss Galavarino. That's a pretty name. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I forgot about super chats. Caught alive again. Yeah, I try to pop out here and there when it comes to the live streams. Got to switch it up. Got to switch it up every now and again. And actually, it's fun like interacting with you guys in real time because then you guys help me to kind of create the content. I don't know. It's fun and it's like easy too. 39 watching. Y'all check in and like the live for the Exoticals. Yeah. Yeah, check in, like the live, comment. We're just going to be talking our shit on this stream. So has anybody ever called you guys stuck up? And also, what methods do you use to maintain your stuck uppery? Because I do have some methods that I like to use to maintain my stuck up aura. So, for example, I am very generous with the block button. On every platform, I'm very generous with it. I will block people's phone numbers, like they can no longer contact me. And then even if I see them in person, it's always awkward. I feel like it's always awkward on their end. It's not necessarily awkward on my end, but I feel like sometimes when I've blocked a person, they will be shocked that I still show up to the function and like they have been fully blocked. And like I'm still there just enjoying my life, you know, like nothing happened. And then they're just staring at me like, wow, she really blocked me. So that's part of how I like to be stuck up. And I just feel like knowing when to block people, that helps repel the dust. Have you ever been around a dusty woman? And it's like she never blocks anyone. She always allows dusty men to stay in her phone. She allows dusty exes to stay in her phone. And like, you know, she gives access to everybody because she's desperate. That is dusty bitch behavior. Okay, so you know the rhinoceros type that shops at Zara and she acts very dusty. Oh, by the way, I saw a viral clip of somebody getting called the N-word in Zara. So just want to put that out there. I thought that was interesting. Oh, let's shop at Zara so we can end colorism and racism. Goes to Zara, gets called the N-word. That's crazy. And it's like, why is nobody talking about that over here in these YouTube streets? Ernestine Wilson says, "Hi, my exotical sisters, listening to the radio with headphones on while watching the live." Yay. Wait, is the radio still that that still exists? That's cool. And by the way, no shade to like people who listen to the radio. The holy exalt. Yes, they treat us like we're the freaking Jesus Christ. Over here commenting on my video. Well, you didn't show her grace. I'm sorry. Why are you looking to random YouTubers to bestow grace upon unambiguous women? Like, what? Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And why are people begging for validation in my comment section? Like, I blocked somebody today and she wasn't mean or anything, but I block people if they're like new to the channel, if they come off like they're just seeking our validation a lot. Like, oh, do I count as being pretty privileged? Or what exactly do you mean by that? What exactly do you mean by thin privilege? What exactly do you mean by light skin? What exactly do you mean by exotical? It's like, okay, there are over 1,000 videos that have talked about all of the nuances of the different types of privileges we discuss on this channel. I just don't like when somebody is not a critical thinker. As a matter of fact, that's another part of how I build my pedestal. I only hang out with people who are also on their pedestals as well. Because, you know, I want to have my pedestal. I don't want someone to be begging for my validation. You know, I have to be their emotional cheerleader. I have to be their free therapist. I have to bestow grace upon them in my fucking YouTube videos, which is insane. Well, you're not showing me grace. No, I caught a live right at bedtime. I'm upset. I literally tried to stream earlier too, but you know, this is just, it's just part of my schedule, I guess. But yeah, you guys can watch the replay. OMG, I'm actually awake for this one. Hi. Also, yes, dark femininity is my jam. Yeah, and by the way, when I use that term dark femininity, what I'm talking about is the aspects of your femininity that people might perceive as toxic. So being stuck up, being quote unquote conceited, being called superior, all the things that we've been called, like being a seductress and stuff like that. I talk about that. Well, I used to talk about that a lot on this channel. Now I feel like I talk about it more on like the Patreon. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of women with inferiority complexes, part of why they feel inferior is because they have good girl syndrome. They've been told that if they're nice to others, then others will be nice to them. If they're a pick me, then they'll just get picked. And then they don't get picked or whatever, then they become femcells and then they have femcell rage. And that is so, you know, I just think that you shouldn't play fair in an unfair world. And so a lot of people, they get upset by the exotical space because we're the first and only space who actively promotes things like social climbing, or we admit, you know, we have no problem admitting that, yeah, technically we are social climbing and, you know, we are acknowledging our privilege and privilege stacking and, you know, just using things to our advantage. So if that makes us bad or dark, and then they'll be like, oh, well, that you have dark energy. Okay, and am I supposed to be intimidated by that? I'm not afraid of somebody like, I'm not afraid of like being cursed or whatever. Or, it's almost like some people try to weaponize religion against you as well, or they try to weaponize their spirituality against you, or they try to weaponize karma against you. And it's like, ma'am, how do you know what my karma is? You don't know another person's like morals and values. Also, I personally don't even believe in karma. I don't believe in that at all. I believe in cause and effect. I feel like people conflate cause and effect with karma. And it's like, no, there's not some spiritual karmic thing happening. And oh my God, the exoticals are just going to be cursed. And, anybody who has privilege in this world, they're going to be reincarnated. And then they're going to finally be at the bottom. That's a coping mechanism. That's cope. Honeydew Drop says, "Hey EU and ooh child, the title alone." Yeah, that's my troll title. I just wanted to like piss people off. But have you guys ever been called stuck up? At church, I'm super kind and sweet to everyone, and everyone is nice. I try to talk to and connect with the newcomers, obese and ambiguous women, and they turn the other way. Yeah, so I will be honest. Sometimes hyper religious women are a part of my hater archetype. So it's not necessarily just Christian. It could be like somebody Muslim or whatever. Sometimes those women do tend to be my hater archetype because I notice sometimes they don't like anyone who's kind of sexy looking, or I don't know, if you meet a beauty standard, if you embrace and kind of flaunt your femininity. When I say flaunt your femininity, what I mean is like maybe you wear makeup, maybe you have your hair done, maybe you're dressing for your body type. I've noticed that in churches and stuff, they will try to accuse those women of being Jezebels. Anyone else get the trope, you talk white? Yeah, and it's like, what does that even mean? You talk white. So if I don't talk like a degenerate, if I'm not talking in an 1865 slave accent, then I'm talking white. So if you don't sound like Kunta Kinte, you're talking white. Butterbean Baby says, "Going back to work tonight after taking vacation for 2 weeks and not telling any of my dusty coworkers where I was going." Oh yeah, and another way that I stay on my pedestal and be stuck up is I don't tell other people my plans, especially business plans. Like, okay, I will low key breadcrumb. So you know how people accuse you of breadcrumbing and dating? I will kind of breadcrumb sometimes when it comes to leveling up. And it's not to be malicious. It's just because, like, if I can't trust a person or if I don't know a person super, super well, I am going to breadcrumb. Like, I'm not going to give you all the sauce. I'm not going to tell you all my streams of income, even on this channel. Like, I don't tell everything about myself because I know that there are always going to be hate watchers or people who are trying to, like, find us, or they want to, I don't know, they just want to find out information about us or quote unquote expose us. So I never give enough information to where it's like, it's going to actually harm me or it's going to hinder me. So that's one of my stuck up strategies. Honeydew Drop says, "Girl, I was literally called a snob because I expressed my choice to not be romantically involved in felons by a white woman. This same white woman was married to a black felon and now she's divorced." Oh yeah, I was going to make a Patreon episode as well because I just got, well, I didn't get called a snob, but like, yeah, I had a conversation at a party the other day and I basically came off as a snob. Like I 100% came off as a snob. And it was because they were talking about men and women being friends. You guys know my take on that. Men and women are not friends. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense because friendship is emotional intimacy. So what man do you know that seeks emotional intimacy with a woman with no hidden agendas at all and is completely platonic? He doesn't want to fuck. He's not waiting for his shot. This just doesn't make sense. But yeah, I feel like I was perceived as a snob because I have strict boundaries. Basically, if you have strong boundaries, that's why I feel like being called stuck up, that's not an insult. That is not an insult. And being told that I'm on a pedestal, that's definitely not an insult. Being called conceited is also not an insult because you're implying that I have something to be conceited about. I don't see people calling homeless, unattractive, hideously ugly people conceited. No, they only call people conceited when they feel like you have a reason to be conceited. That's why they're calling you that. So, Sarah Mahmoud says EU is one of a kind, protect her at all costs. I had physical symptoms that warned me about mean people. Oh, that's crazy. You know what? I've kind of had that actually. Have you ever been around someone and then it's like you get the ick, or it's like your stomach drops, or you just feel like, ugh, I don't know, or like your mood kind of goes down? I will cut those women off as well. If they make complaining their whole personality, bitch, I'd rather make my looks or whatever my personality than make my traumas my personality or complaining 24/7. Have you ever hung out with someone and they're like, oh, it's too hot. Oh, the music is too loud. Oh, it's too crowded in here. Oh, there's no parking. Oh, the weather is bad. It's like every single thing is wrong. Yes, she is. Hello, EU and chat. Maintain perfect posture. Yeah, you know what? That is a really good stuck up tip. You know what? I love to wear giant shoes because I told you guys I'm tall already. So I will actually wear shoes just to be, it's kind of socially obnoxious a little bit. But I like to use socially obnoxious habits sometimes to just, it builds my pedestal. Like what, bitch? You thought you could overlook me? It's not going to happen. So yeah, I feel like posture plays into it as well because whenever I wear my platform, like my chunky shoes, it forces me to have good posture. Yes, many times I stay quiet in person. I don't really speak that way. When I do speak, everyone listens. Exactly. Has anyone noticed that the Exoticals, everybody listens to what we say? And I've noticed that people create their content because they want Exoticals to watch them. Has anybody else noticed that? Even when people create channels to complain, for example, Red Pill, the black male dating channels, and also colorism, texturism, and featureism channels, all of them are targeted towards us. They're targeted towards us as their audience. They really want us to listen to them. They don't care if unambiguous people listen. They don't care. They specifically want us to listen, and then they specifically want us to like give them a chance or whatever, or like open doors for them, or even like commenters on my channel, they want us to bestow grace upon them because they feel like they were worse off or like quote unquote inferior, socially inferior, which I disagree with, but other people have inferiority complexes. I can't control that. And also it's not my responsibility to fix it. Sarah says, I'm working on my stuck up era more than ever right now. Should have done it a long time ago. Yeah. I feel like there are a few things that people perceive as making me stuck up. I think when you're pretty, people, they sometimes associate that with being stuck up. Like, oh, she's pretty, so she probably thinks she's all that. She probably thinks she's the shit. Generous with the block button. EU, that needs to be a shirt or like a coffee mug. Yeah. I do need to make some more merch. I actually have merch. Sometimes it's linked below. I do have little mugs. Maybe I should like try to edit the mug and like make another one that says generous with the block button. Silence, sip tea, and shred away. Exactly. My ex called me oh my God, that reminds me of what they called me in college, Hillary. And I've never seen, I still can't remember what show. Was it from Fresh Prince, I think? Yeah, they used to call me that shit because I'm from the suburbs and a little conceited. Yeah, and wasn't she like a dumbass in the show or something? Kind of like an airhead, or like she just dresses up and just walks around and like doesn't really have any substance. I don't know. I was called Hillary Banks back in high school because they associated me, a light-skinned woman, with a stuck-up, bougie MLS young woman from the Fresh. Okay, yeah, so it is Fresh Prince. Yeah. And signs that my boyfriend would appear, but people don't believe it. OMG, yes, they won't block them and then act so smug when they get a text or call from dusty men. And they'll say they always come back. Of course they come back because you always let them. Exactly. Of course they come back. Your wallet is open. Ma'am, your wallet is open. Your house is open. Your apartment is open. And your legs are open. So, of course, he's going to come back. And also, he has nowhere to go. He's like a stray dog or like a lost puppy dog or something. Sarah says the stuck up method that I use is to basically exchange as few words as possible with individuals that I feel shouldn't have access to me. It gets me into trouble sometimes. I need more methods. No, I do that too. I do that, especially when it comes to men. If he's unattractive or if he's just somebody that's like, he gives dusty vibes, oh, I'm not even going to speak to him. Like in a public setting, anytime I go to like a certain gym or like a fitness event, or I've told you guys about some of the events that I go to, like business conferences and stuff. If I'm sensing any dust from a guy, oh, I'm not even going to speak to him. And then I've had people get extremely pissed off at me, or they'll say I act funny. They'll be like, oh, Exoticals United, she acts funny, or she doesn't speak to nobody. She only speaks to certain people. She only hangs out with certain people. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Am I supposed to be available to everybody? Am I supposed to be following you around like a puppy dog? So it's only the people who are, they're desperate for your validation. Those are the main ones who get mad. Somebody just joined the members. Yay, Tori Lynn 98. That was so effing funny. Not Kunta Kente. Yeah, if you don't talk and sound and act like Kunta Kente, you're going to be called stuck up and you're going to be told you're acting white and that you're anti-black and you hate your blackness. It's like if you're not reenacting slavery or if you're not acting like a hood booger, you're going to be told that like you're trying to be white. Or you're going to be told that you're jumping out of blackness. I was called mean by an unambiguous black boy in high school. I had no clue who he was, but he was mean to me for no. Oh, yeah. That's another part of my stuck up strategy. I can actually train my brain to forget. And if you have ADHD, you can use that to your advantage. You can use your forgetfulness to your advantage. So you can train yourself to forget people. You can forget old friends. You can forget exes. You can forget dusties. You can forget hating ass bitches, whoever you want to forget. Like I will literally tell myself, okay, Exotical, you can stop thinking about that person now. You can erase them from your memory. Like I've said that out loud to myself. I officially erase Johnny from my memory or like whoever it is. So I think that's a great stuck up strategy. And I think that's a great way to maintain your pedestal as well. One of the other ways that I like to maintain my pedestal is I will actually track and I will meticulously watch what dusty women are doing so I know what to avoid. So, for example, I no longer shop at Zara. No shade to Zara, but it's like, okay, if I see a bunch of dusty women there, I don't want anything to do with it. I will never be shopping there again. If I see a bunch of dusty women trying to take over golf courses or, trying to join country club, then I won't do it. So that's another way that I maintain my personal and social pedestal as well. I will avoid social setting, even if it's like a classy set. What people don't realize is it's not the location itself that makes it classy. It's not Zara itself that is just so classy or the sport of golf itself that makes it classy. No, if trashy people come in and overtake whatever it is, then it's no longer classy anymore. So I will be sure to keep up with whatever dusty trends are going on so that I can avoid those places at all costs. And I will even avoid certain fashions, certain looks, certain stores, even certain parts of town. Like if necessary, I really will do that. I do the same with the breadcrumbs. Exactly. It's like, I'm not telling all my shit. For what? I'm sorry. But isn't that just common sense to not get involved with? What, not get involved with Dusties? That was back then when I was shy and quieter. I'm more assertive and set boundaries now. Exactly. I just had to cut off a friend who would always call me to complain about her dusty YT man. Yeah. Oh, I like your picture, normalized black wealth. That's funny. But exactly. Some women are so desperate to be with a guy that they'll be with anybody. They'll be with anybody or they randomly brag. Like lately, I've had women randomly brag to me about who their exes are, and it'll be some random guy. Like I told you guys the story about how one time I met this unambiguous girl, and she randomly brought up that her ex-boyfriend was light skinned. Just randomly out of nowhere. Nobody was talking about skin tones. Nobody was talking about complexion. Um, the reason she brought it up was because I said I was in this other like social group, and she was like, "Oh, do you know so and so?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh, well, that's my ex-boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is. I've never met him." She was like, "Yeah, he's a tall, light-skinned guy. He has curly hair, blah, blah, blah." And I just found it interesting that she was like, she wanted me to know who her ex-boyfriend was so bad. And I actually did end up meeting the guy. He's very zesty. He is not straight. He's not straight. Like, there's no way that man is straight. So the fact that an unambiguous woman was bragging about her bisexual MLS boyfriend or DL boyfriend, like, that's just crazy to me. Well, actually, he wasn't her boyfriend. She was bragging about him being her ex. So a guy that you didn't even stay with, you brag that you used to be with this guy. Do you hear how dusty and male-centered that sounds? I like being perceived as stuck up. It used to offend me because it couldn't be further from the truth. Now I don't care. Exactly. People are going to think the worst. If somebody doesn't like me, they're going to believe the worst about me anyway. So, like, why should I give a fuck about people who already don't like me? Hi, I'm a bit late. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Club meeting. We are discussing how to be stuck up, how to be conceited, and build our superiority complexes. Since bitches want to stereotype us anyway, I mean, might as well. That's a great strategy. I'm going to use that. Or if you're not a if you're not a hotep, then you are anti-black. If you're not a hotep or Afrocentric, then people are going to say you're trying to be white. And that goes for your looks and fashion and stuff as well. Because there actually is a such thing as like black, black hairstyles, black fashion, black ways of dressing, black ways of doing makeup. They always do the soft girl or the clean girl. It's always clean girl makeup. Every eyeshadow is brown. Everything on their face is brown. Brown eyeshadow, brown lip liner, brown gloss. No color anywhere. Can't wear bright colors. Can't wear red lipstick. Can't wear bright colored eyeliners. Can't wear bright colored eyeshadow. It has to be clean girl. It has to be just soft browns and mauve and burgundy, and that's it. Brown and gray and beige. So I think that for every aspect of your appearance as well, I think that there's kind of an Afrocentric or almost like a hotep or like black trends when it comes to that. So hair, makeup, even like the baby hairs, the wig with the big swirls, the big baby hair swirls and stuff. And sometimes they'll even put gems on the swirls, like little stickers, those little sticky rhinestones. They'll put that on their baby hair sometimes. So yeah, I think even when it comes to your aesthetic, um, there's like this hotep aesthetic or like this Afrocentric or black or I guess urban type of aesthetic. So if you're not meeting that, some people will accuse you of trying to be white, or they'll just make fun of you. Like, oh my gosh, why are you wearing like Vans or Puma or like some brand that is not popular within the black community? Why are you not wearing Zara? How dare you not wear Zara? I don't see when having class, decorum, and beauty became offensive to some people. Yeah, and have you noticed that sometimes they will call you boring? Because I noticed with Mariah the Scientist, the singer, there were people making fun of her because she wasn't really dancing on stage recently. She was just doing like a two-step or whatever, not really like shaking her ass or anything. She doesn't do that during her performances. And people were making fun of her saying like she's boring or like you give us nothing. And it's like, okay, so if you don't clap your booty cheeks on a stage, if you just sing, then like you're giving us nothing. And I think that is a cultural, it's kind of like a form of cultural bondage. It's this idea that because you're already black, now you have to like show off more and be more obnoxious and like be the loudest in the room. Otherwise, you're giving nothing. Otherwise, you're boring. If you're not the loudest in the room, you're boring. If you're not the life of the party all the time or like a jester, that's basically what that is. In black female culture, they definitely promote gesturing or jester maxing or like, being a fucking entertainer, shucking and jiving for black male attention or shucking and jiving for white male attention or shucking and jiving for social media attention or, going out of their way. I would say sometimes they try even harder to like be sexy. That's something I've definitely noticed. Somebody mentioned it on my comment section the other day. They were saying how they were kind of studying the difference between unambiguous women versus exoticals on social media. And they were saying a lot of unambiguous women in their profile pictures and stuff or in their IG, it's always showing their body. It's never just their face with like their body not being in the picture at all. It's never just like all headshots on their page. Usually it's mostly body shots and maybe one or two face pics. And I never thought about that. And I do think that that is a cultural thing for sure. They ruin cruise. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. I was just thinking about that. Cruises. I am terrified of going on a cruise now. I've been on a cruise before, actually. I actually went on Carnival before. but I'm not from, I didn't go from, I think it was what, Miami, Houston, Miami, Atlanta, somewhere like that. So I went from a place where there weren't even any black people on the ship at all. So I never had any stereotypes about cruises or about Carnival. But over the last year, I mean, cruises are getting a bad rap. They had the Carnival bullshit. They were smacking people with fans. They had people getting arrested. Like literally the police were waiting to arrest people once they got off the cruise. They had people who were specifically going on cruises so they could commit crimes and jump people and stuff on the cruises. And now they have the hantavirus or whatever it was called, like saying that is it spread on a cruise, and now the people got off the cruise. And then they had that other cruise a while back where the sewage busted on the cruise, and like the electricity was out, and then there was like boo-boo all over the floor of the cruise. So yeah, cruises definitely have a bad rap. Oh, and by the way, another thing that I think is dusty is constantly going on beach vacations. Yeah, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I said what the fuck I said. Why is it that every dusty bitch, she always wants to go somewhere to the beach? Miami, Puerto Rico, Jamaica. I get it. Those are beautiful places. Don't get me wrong, but it's like that is not the only place I want to go. I want to explore the culture. I don't want to just go somewhere and get crossfaded. That's another thing too. That's another dusty ass behavior. Always has to be high, always has to be drunk, always has to get crossfaded, always goes to other countries and goes on cruises and then buys little packs of the white stuff when she's in another country. It's like, why would I go to another country so I can like do drugs or whatever? That doesn't even make sense. That's not how I want to spend my time or my money. So that's another thing I noticed too. That's like part of how I keep my pedestal. I promote sobriety on this channel. I will never tell the Exoticals to go out and to take substances from strangers or to, go on these cruises to other countries and you're buying random shit on the beach and, you don't know those people, you don't know what they're giving you and you paid money for it. So yeah, that's another thing. I was naturally conceited and stopped because my own family member called me prissy and uppity, and the other bullied me for that. Why do we always get called the exact same insults? Prissy, uppity, think we're all that, don't speak to nobody, acting white. Or they'll say, you seem like you would date white guys. What the fuck does that even mean? Or they might say, you seem like you would date black guys. You seem like black guys would like you. What does that even mean? She was his cover to look straight. Yeah, exactly. She was his cover to look straight, and he was her cover to look picked. That's exactly what it was. Because no, let me tell you exactly how this guy looked. So he's an MLS man. Okay, so think of like Corbin Blue, like that's his phenotype or whatever. So he's like a biracial guy. He has the same type of hair as Corbin Blue, and this guy, he literally wears the shiny lip, like lip gloss, and he wears his hair in a high ponytail. Like I'm talking about like a pineapple and like half up, half down, like slick back with edges. So he is not masculine. There's a difference between a guy who's more masculine looking with long hair versus that guy. No, that guy was just straight up. He's one of the girls. I didn't even think he was straight. When I actually met him, and then he told me his name and it was the same guy, I was like, oh my God, I would have never thought that this guy liked women at all. He literally, his ponytail is like higher than mine. Like his curls are like more defined than mine. Like this guy, he's wearing double the hair product that I'm wearing. Honeydew Drop says, so I guess they're associating MLS Exoticals with everything classy, bougie, stuck up, boring, uppity, etc. Yeah. And you know what? I love being a classy exotical. Kay Simone says, hey, pretty girl club. Us attractive women almost have to be stuck. Exactly. We have to be stuck up because people want to pressure us to be people pleasers more than ever. You got men who want us to please them in the bedroom. They try to pressure us and they pressure us in that area. And then you got women who try to pressure us to be their friend. We get pressured to be other people's beauty guru. So now, because I know how to look good, now I have to tell you how to look good. Now I have to try to fucking find what looks good on you. Now I have to give you hair advice. And you know how they got mad at the hair YouTubers? They were like, oh, they're not catering to type 4. They're not catering to 4C. And it's like, ma'am, her hair is like a 3B. Why would she be like, why would she be an expert on 4C? RTGP 2.0 says, I got relatives who go on cruise ships. Yeah, you know what? I've seen where they have like family reunions and they go on cruises. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. I would do that. Well, it depends on where we're going and like what is the port city. It seems like there's a difference based on what city they go out of when they're doing the cruises. Because the one that I went on, it was fine. But yeah, now I'm just terrified because they all have a bad reputation at this point. And then with cruises, have you heard about how they treat their workers? Like the way they treat their workers is terrible. A lot of them only get paid like $6 an hour. You know, like they specifically will hire people from other countries and they have different laws at sea versus on land. And so that's also why they tell you to never gamble on a cruise as well, because it it's not necessarily going under American gambling laws. So you're basically getting scammed. I mean, there are just so many problems with cruises. Um, Divine Goddess says, I also noticed that unambiguous women rarely post profile pictures of themselves without a wig or makeup on. Ooh, that's, you know what? That's a good. I've also noticed some of them, whenever they're trying to do beauty, like whenever they want to be perceived as pretty, I have noticed some of them do tend to rely on heavy filtering and wigs in particular, especially wigs. Um, I have definitely noticed that as well. Yes, I find myself also having to limit proximity because people are always trying to humble me unprovoked. Yeah, and this is why I'm glad that we have this safe space to actually talk. And, you know, we don't have to worry about like being called conceited over here or, you know, people accusing us of being stuck up because if you're stuck up, you're welcome here, honestly. I mean, you're going to fit right in. If you get called stuck up, conceited, or thinking you're better, or if you get accused of having a superiority complex, and also notice how people accuse exoticals of having superiority complexes, but then they'll say things like, oh, well, my melanin is popping, or like I'm the blueprint because I have the most melanin, or I have the Eve gene. Okay, well, isn't that technically a form of superiority? Because you're literally saying my melanin is superior to yours because it's darker. Well, my 4C hair is superior to yours because it's thicker. My hair's thicker. Well, my ass is better than yours because it's bigger and it's natural. And you know, if you get a BBL, you're just trying to copy me because like I'm the blueprint for body types. Okay, well, isn't that technically a superiority complex then? So do you see the extreme hypocrisy? Like I said, we have to be Jesus Christ. You literally had someone getting mad because my video about JT, apparently I wasn't showing JT enough mercy and grace. So I'm supposed to be God Almighty bestowing mercy and grace on random celebrities. That's how much power that person gave me. I've been called prissy since elementary school. Like, what the F is that? Yeah, and you know what? I noticed in my case, I get the dainty stereotype or whatever, or kind of this dainty. I have like a dainty persona, or people perceive me that way. And it's like, I'm actually not well, my personality. I love being able to be aggressive, by the way. I just want to announce that. I actually love this YouTube channel because I'm so aggressive. I'm so aggressive on this YouTube channel. It's actually refreshing. I like being able to be aggressive and get away with it. So that's another conceited tip, you know, be aggressive because you can get away with it. You're the pretty girl, you're soft like as far as your looks go, so people don't perceive you as being aggressive in the same way that they may perceive other types of women. So, you know, that's another thing that you can use as a part of your pedestal. In fact, I've actually been praised. I've never had that insecurity about being aggressive. Like in real life, I've actually told people or like announced that I'm aggressive or that I'm like very assertive. And I've noticed that people, they actually like it. In fact, they will celebrate and they'll be like, "Oh, Exoticals United. Yeah, she's just assertive." Or they'll just call it boundaries. But I've noticed for other women, it literally hinders them, like in the workplace or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's another stuck up conceited tip. OMG, catching EU live again. Yeah, I'm trying to go live more because I just miss like hanging out with the pretty girl club and just like being stuck up together. I just miss being conceited together and like, you know, just flipping our hair and staring in the mirrors. Just kidding. But Brittany Smith says, I was often called picky or hard to please growing up. Oh my God. Yes, you just reminded me. Has anyone ever been called high maintenance? Like what does that even mean? First of all, that's a compliment. I've been called picky or hard to please growing up when I was like the most easygoing kid. Exactly. So basically, they want us to be the blueprint, right? We are the blueprint of being stuck up, conceited, and superiority, having superiority complexes. So it's like, ma'am, you don't realize you're complimenting us. Exoticals are the Black community's life coach. No, we are. We're the Black community's life coaches. We're the Black community's civil rights leaders. Okay. Pretty much all, like, so many people were multiracial who literally championed the civil rights movement. Frederick Douglass, Rosa Parks, W.E.B. Du Bois, the Tuskegee Airmen. I think there was at least one of them that was like an Afro-Latino multiracial guy. I mean, there are so many that I can think of just off the top of my head. The Creole community as a whole, the same community, the number one community that they try to absorb into Blackness, the Creole community. Even to this day, actually, a lot of the icons are multiracial people. Right now, you've got that Rihanna and Tyla thing going on. They're trying to put Rihanna and Tyla against each other because both of those women are multiracial icons and like considered the face of Black beauty and like Black music and everything. And it's like, where's this energy for like Normani and Doechii, or I don't know, like Thames and like Area Star or something? Where's this energy for unambiguous women? They don't put them on as much of a pedestal, so nobody really cares who those women are beefing with. They're always obsessed with exoticals having conflict, I've noticed. I was just pausing it so I could drink my tea. Oh my gosh, that tastes so good. I'm drinking the black licorice tea that I talked about on the members page. Maybe Tampa port. Yeah, that would be what? The ratchet port, or that would be a good port? A lot of people have been talking about Florida lately. It's funny because JT was like talking so much shit about Florida. And it's like, why is it that people who define themselves as being inferior or being the most disrespected? Okay, so then why would I want to look at the world through your lens? So if you think that like Florida, like in JT's case, she was complaining about Florida, then it's like, why would you even rep Florida then? And then why would you go in a rap group with a girl named Young Miami? Hate Florida, but you're in a rap group trying to get clout with a girl named Young Miami. Make it make sense. I gatekeep my beauty secrets now. It's like, do your own research like I had. Yeah, I actually start to get annoyed if I can tell that a person is just straight up lazy. There's a difference between curiosity and straight up laziness. Like the girl that I had to block today off my YouTube, she wasn't being mean or anything, but she was just asking so many questions that have already been in so many of my videos. Like some of the stuff she was asking about, I have entire series, like several different series on those topics. And it's like, you could have just clicked on my profile, just click on the page. So it's coming off as if you don't want to click on the page. You want me personally to stop what I'm doing. You want me to stop, drop, and roll so I can validate you. You just want my validation. That's what it is. You want my attention. All my thousands of videos, that's not enough. You need Exoticals United to respond personally to every single one of your questions. And I feel like that's how some people are with beauty secrets. It's not enough to do a Google search for them. It's not enough to go get their color analysis. It's not enough to go to a professional makeup artist. No, they need exact realism. They need that person to be their personal concierge. And it's like, no, I'm not going to be your social climbing liaison, especially if you don't welcome me in your community. And that's another part of how I maintain my pedestal as well. I keep the same energy over here. If you don't compliment me, I won't compliment you. You don't acknowledge my beauty, I'm not acknowledging yours. You don't acknowledge my achievements, I won't acknowledge yours. I mean, I've done that at the workplace before. If I've had coworkers where they don't want to acknowledge my work or they don't, acknowledge my contribution, then I'm not acknowledging theirs. I'm going to ignore them. You ignore me, I ignore you. And it always hurts more when the exoticals do it because they perceive us as having social power. I would only do the expedition learning based cruises. Limited passengers and less manufactured entertainment. Okay, I didn't know that. So they have different types of cruises. Well, I know that they have the no kids cruises. That's the only one that I knew about because that's the one that I went on a long time ago. And this is before cruises like got canceled. I feel like now pretty much anything that's like cheap, this is going to sound very fucked up, but anything that has like a low barrier to entry or it's like very cheap, I have noticed that the classiness level of it tends to get messed up. So like these super cheap cruises and stuff, super cheap vacation destination. That's why I brought up beach vacations, not because I hate the beach. It's just sometimes I feel like the culture can get messed up or like people come in and taint that culture or they kind of degrade those places because of the cheap prices. And, you know, some people are just, they go to these places just to do a quick getaway and then they end up trashing places like Puerto Rico. They trash places like certain parts of Mexico or whatever. Um, and I just feel like it messes up the experience for the people who genuinely love and respect those cultures. Like, part of how I know a woman is dusty is because a lot of women who are dusties, they view vacations just as a form of escape rather than as a way to learn. So, you know, like this pretty girl's comment, she views traveling as a way of learning. And I am the same way. I love to travel so I can learn about the people. I want to learn about those people. I want to learn about their culture. I want to experience their beautiful food and their beautiful music. And like, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. That literally makes me happy. I don't want to go to other people's stuff so I can just take something. I just want to go there and like, you know, get drunk and take some pictures and then like trash their country and then leave. No, I don't even have that mindset. So I've noticed a lot of women who are dusty, they just have this mindset where they just want to go somewhere and be on the beach and just lay around and they just want to lay around and do drugs on the beach. Like, bitch, what is wrong with you? Like, oh, I just want to come to your country so I can like lay around on your beaches and do drugs. Are you serious? That's extremely dusty behavior. You just want to go and infiltrate somebody else's country, especially if you come from a first world country. You want to go and infiltrate somebody else's shit. You want to support the fucking drug trade in their country. And then you want to just lay around and just eat up American food and then complain that like they don't have any good food or like their food is nasty. Ma'am, you're in a different culture. So that's another like dusty bitch behavior. So, you know, people are going to accuse me of having a superiority complex for that, and that's fine. European river cruises only. Yeah, definitely try a Disney cruise. It's amazing and dust free. You know what? I heard about Disneyland and Disney World raising the price of their tickets, and people were accusing them of being racist or whatever. Because back when I went to Disneyland, um, it was only, I think it was $100 a day to get it. And this is me going as an adult. Like I've gone as a child and as an adult. Um, but yeah, the tickets were only $100. I think they're more now, like 300, right? So they're some of these places are trying to weed certain people out. And it's like, do you accuse these companies of having a superiority complex? Do you accuse Louis Vuitton of having a superiority complex? Or is it only me? Do you see how people pick and choose when they're going to accuse someone of thinking they're better? I had a guy yell at me from across the street, I know you only date white guys, after he was catcalling me. That's funny. Yes, girl, it's so crazy. I was once asked, why do you talk so proper? Like, wow, I can't talk now, huh? Why do you talk proper? It's like, bitch, why do you talk improper? Why do you sound illiterate when you speak? Honestly, I love the way that I speak. I think it's fun. I like to sometimes switch it up on here though. I try to talk in my aggressive voice. Not right now. I don't really sound that aggressive right now, but I do sometimes try to talk in my aggressive voice a little bit. Um, but yeah, I just like that we have the freedom to be multifaceted. That's one of my favorite things about our identity. And I'm not saying other identities can't be multifaceted. I just think that they need to figure that out for themselves. It's funny how once the exotical space started, now suddenly everybody wants the exoticals to solve their problems. Isn't that interesting? We've always been perceived as the fucking problem solvers. We're the problem solvers in the black community. We're the problem solvers in the hypergamy community. We're the problem solvers in the decentering men community, in the dating community, everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's an exotical solving some problems. Brown Skin God says, and they say, why do you walk like a model or float when you walk? It's like you can't even be. You know what? People have talked shit about my walk before too, or they've noticed my walk. I mean, I walk completely normal. There is nothing wrong with my walk. They'll be like, why does she walk like that? And it's like, ma'am, why are you waddling? Just because I'm actually at a skinny weight, just because my body and my freaking spine are aligned, that doesn't mean I walk funny. You're the one that's waddling across the street because you're so obese. You can't even see your feet when you look down. All you see is stomach, you see boobs, you see your chin bulging out of the sides of your neck. The back of your neck looks like a pack of hot dogs, and you're over here talking about my walk. You don't even have edges, have no money, probably have the check engine light on in your car right now. Bitch, you need an oil change right now, and then you're talking about how I walk. Do you see what I mean? Always worried about the wrong things. That's a dusty bitch. That is the mindset of a dusty person. They're always worried about the wrong things. They're worried about what brand of clothing you're wearing, worried about going on cruises instead of being worried about their own health or their own weight loss. And another thing I've been seeing recently is a lot of them getting the butt shots are popular again, or at least in my city. Well, not in my city, but a lot of women from my city are flying to other countries and stuff. You know, they're flying to those same beach countries. They're flying to these beachy locations so they can get their little cement butt shots instead of just going to the gym. And it's like, ma'am, you could have gone to Planet Fitness for $10. You could have done some squats for 90 days instead of getting something injected. I mean, whatever, to each their own, but it's like, yeah, I've noticed that. Anyone noticed too, in all of our movies from childhood, the hyper feminine girl was always the mean girl and the bully, when actually it's the complete opposite. Yeah, I had noticed that too. People associate extreme femininity, and they associate extreme beauty with being a bully, and it's because beauty is a form of social power. That's why people are intimidated by power. You know, they don't like when you have power over them. So if they think you're prettier than them, then they think you are more powerful than them. So that's why they always have the pretty girl as the bully. And femininity is also a source of power as well. I've noticed that in certain Black cultures, I won't say all the Black cultures, but I think in some underprivileged Black cultures, femininity is demonized, you know, because think about it. If you grew up with a family that was in survival mode, they're not buying you dresses and talking about like how to match your jewelry to your skin's undertones and how to blend your eyeshadow. Femininity is a sign of leisure. Having femininity in the first place, and I'm talking about how you present yourself, so like clothing, hair, makeup, etc., color coordination, and all of that. Being able to have the time to do that, that's actually a sign of having a lot of free time. It's also a sign of having more money because you have, you know, resources. You have to have resources in order to express your femininity in the first place. You have to have time and resources. So I think that's why certain communities demonize femininity. And I think that's why they also perceive feminine women as being bullies or mean girls. Because, you know, femininity is inherently seen as like a privilege. It really shouldn't be seen as a privilege. I think it should be seen as more of a right, like a human right, but whatever. Um, I remember when Tyla was called an uppity African after asking for her MTV music to be held. She said it was too heavy some years ago. Yeah, I remember that too. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And people want Rihanna and Tyla to beef. They want them to beef because people love to see pretty women fighting. That's also why that TV show Baddies is popular, because people love to see pretty women being abused. They love to see pretty women fighting each other. They love to see pretty women like going against each other. One thing they can't stand to see is beautiful women united. I've noticed any woman who has an inferiority complex, she can't stand to see a group of pretty girls banding together. You know, that's like the worst nightmare, right? That goes back to that mean girl trope. You got the mean pretty girls hanging out. People feel like that's too much power. So they try to isolate the pretty girl. And this is why I tell you guys that I still want you to like have healthy friendships and stuff, because one of the tactics that women who feel inferior, they'll use this tactic where they want to isolate you. They don't want you to band together with other pretty women. That's too much power in one friend group. And so they want to do that divide and conquer thing. They want every beautiful woman to feel a little bit less powerful. And the way they make you feel powerless is by isolating you. They'll tell you, well, Rihanna doesn't like you, or Tyla doesn't like you, or this your white side won't accept you. They're not your real friends. This other pretty girl is competing with you. So they want to try to weaponize paranoia against you. A lot of people want pretty girls to be paranoid. They want you to be paranoid and scared of everything. Where was JT's grace for MLS women? Exactly. She was colorist in her old tweets and very abusive to Haitians. Oh yeah, don't even get me started about the Haitian, the Haitian hate, the hate against the Haitian people. I actually love Haiti. Haiti is probably my favorite. Actually, yeah, it is like my favorite black country because if you look at the history of Haiti, I mean, it's just phenomenal. The fact that they were like revolting and didn't want to be slaves, and then like they got scammed and they had to pay for their own freedom, and like that's part of the reason why their economy is currently suffering or whatever. And then you have people unaliving every single president, like the last 7 presidents, I think. Is it the last 7 presidents of Haiti that were unalived, or was it the last 7 years that they haven't had a president? I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I've noticed that as well. A lot of people they talk shit about Haiti. I've noticed people talking shit about Puerto Rico as well, and Puerto Rican people, and people talk shit about Creoles. It's just, yeah, a lot of people are just kind of intimidated, I've noticed, or they just hate what they don't understand. But I didn't know that about JT. I didn't know she was, she didn't like Haitians. Shout out to the Haitian Exoticals. Probably a better port. I had an unambiguous African girl say, I have black girl dream hair. My hair is at my butt now. I totally gatekeep. Oh, yeah, I would gatekeep that shit. And I wouldn't let anybody touch my hair. I mean, if I had like butt length hair, especially if you have like type 4 hair, I would gatekeep that shit too. And it's like, you really don't even have to gatekeep it. Your hair grows naturally. You just let it grow. You just stop touching it. Maybe you should stop trying to brush your edges every single day, and then it would actually grow. You stop pulling it into knotless braids and snatching out the edges and then trying to slick it down underneath a lace front every day, and then it'll grow. Wearing pink since listening to your channel is now a part of my pedestal. As a New Yorker, I normally wear black, but I switched to pink and literally my life has changed. Yay, that's a great strategy to maintain your pedestal. I love to use color theory and color psychology as a part of my pedestal as well. So different colors do represent different things and they invoke a different reaction in people. So you know how some people they associate red with like being powerful or being seductive. So that's why you have women who wear like red shirts if they have a meeting, or they wear like red lipstick if they want to be seductive or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a great way to maintain your pedestal. And this is why I say that some women hold themselves back because culturally they're still in cultural bondage because they'll tell people stuff like, "Oh, you're too dark. You can't wear that color." Like, bitch, how are you going to police the how are you going to police the color wheel? Like what? Like people can't wear certain colors now. So I think it goes back to that cultural trend where you see some women they're not allowed to wear pink makeup. They're not allowed to wear pink at all, or they're not allowed to wear bright colors because they've been told that, oh, you have to wear black because it's slimming, or you have to wear only dark colors because your skin is dark, and the bright color is going to overtake your skin. What do you mean the bright color overtakes my skin, bitch? I can wear whatever I want. So yeah, I love the idea of using color theory as a part of your pedestal. And I like to wear pink. I would say my favorites are pink, purple, and blue. That's like my top 3 in that order. So yeah, wearing pink is definitely associated with like hyper femininity. It's associated with softness. And believe it or not, a lot of women are scared to wear pink. I talked about this before, how I went to a black event actually, and there were hundreds of women there, and I was the only one wearing pink. I was specifically wearing pink pants. I had a pink top and pink pants on, and nobody else was wearing like pink like in the same way that I was. So I think a lot of women, they're scared of wearing pink. They can't pull it off. They don't have the juice. They don't have the riz. They don't have the aura to be able to carry such a feminine color. And by the way, I'm not saying other colors can't be feminine, because if you're gorgeous, you're going to look gorgeous and whatever. But I think that in our society, different colors represent different things. So yeah, congrats on using that as a part of your pedestal. I'm trying to be an exotical. I want pretty privilege. By the way, this is a guy saying this. EU, did you see the Michael movie? I did. Of course I saw it. Yeah, it was a really good movie. I heard they're making another one. I don't know if they said they're making a second one or like a second and a third one. It was so crazy though that Janet wasn't in it. I saw that she was kind of like, I don't know, she didn't like it because she felt like the brother, I forgot which brother it was that did the movie, but she felt like they were just trying to get more money. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. Greetings, Pretty Girl Club. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. What is the point of going abroad if you're going to eat? Hey, McDonald's, exactly. Why would you travel if you're going to still eat the same bullshit that you eat at home? So you flew all the way across the world to still eat processed beluga foods. You can't make this shit up. Well, actually, some people can't even travel anywhere because they spend all their money on going out to eat. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah, that's a Dusty habit. She spends her savings money and her fucking credit card. If you're paying for DoorDash using fucking Klarna and Afterpay, that is Dusty. That's that is some Dusty bitch behavior. So you're telling me that now you're ruining your financial future. And now you're over here taking on 30% interest just so you can have some chicken wings. That's another aspect of Dusty bitch behavior. So I hope the Exoticals can, get out of the dust. We need to do a cleansing of the dust. I took my twin identical mini Exoticals to a chocolate cafe this weekend. Very ritzy place, and the Baddies bus was in the park. Oh, the Baddies like the show. The Baddies bus was in the parking lot. We turned right around and went to the Science Center instead. Wow. Oops, I just bumped my mic. I hope you guys couldn't hear that, but that's crazy. The belugas love a beach trip. Right. They don't want to walk anywhere. So that's why they always go to the beach. And again, no shade to the beach. But it's like if you grew up around the beach, then you don't pedestalize it as much. So it's like they only want to go to the beach or they want to go somewhere where they can like gamble and like do drugs and shit. And it's like that's not fun. I don't want to just lay around and just get burnt up in the sun and just like buy crack off of a random person walking down the sand. Like what? That doesn't even sound fun. And then, just get faded and fall asleep in the hotel room. Or you just, go bar hopping, seeking male validation in another country. So you went from being an American pick-me to now being a Jamaican pick-me. Congratulations. Why do you talk improper? Exactly. Like, why do you talk improper? Why do you sound like a degenerate when you speak? Why do you sound like you just got done picking cotton? Meanwhile, slavery hasn't existed for hundreds of years. I've been called whitewashing because of the way I speak and my personality, laughing my butt off. Seriously, what else am I supposed to talk like? This is the structure, bitch. Exactly. Like, do you not know basic grammar? A pack of hot dogs is wild. Not the oil change. Yes. Some of these women are so dusty. They're over here driving around. They need a new tire. They need an oil change. They need to get some gas. But instead, they're worrying about what the Exoticals are doing. Or they're commenting on Exotical channels. Or they're commenting on celebrities like Tyla and Rihanna and egging on a beef. Wanting them to beef so bad. And it's like, man, your own life is in shambles right now. You literally have credit collectors calling your phone several times a day, and you're worried about some celebrities. Woo, finally made alive. Hi, Exoticals. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Shout out to all the beautiful Exoticals. Shout out to all the dusty bitches. You guys are canceled now, and the Exoticals are taking over. I just want to make an announcement to all the dusties, and I just want to let you dusties know that the Exoticals are now we're taking over, okay? I am mixed race, half Egyptian, half white. People of all races have some sort of familiarity with me. It really does cast a wide net of people wanting access or proximity. Yeah. Yeah, I think that when you're mixed, and especially if you have kind of this ambiguous look, it makes you relatable. It makes you relatable to a lot of different people. I think a lot of different people can see their features in you, whether it's your skin color, your nose, your lips, your hair texture. Arlette says, "Aw, I'm late. You're right on time. I have a golden caramel skin tone with 2C to 3A hair. People always police me as not black enough. My nose is ethnic, but now my nose is ethnic but not black looking. I tanned to brown and had people say I look like chili." Yeah, I feel like people perceive you differently depending on your features and your skin tone combo. Proud half Haitian. Yay, shout out to the Haitian Exoticals. I was able to find a more wealthy friend at a nicer restaurant and store in my city. Oh, and that's another thing too. That's another way I keep my pedestal is I don't hang out with bitches who are bad with money. Like if they're extremely bad with money, if they want to spend $800 on a section at some dusty ass hookah place or whatever, they just want to like blow all their money like we're like going to these places. It's like $75 for parking. They're paying $1,000 for a table. I'm like, why would I do all that just so I can hang out with these dusty men with these beer bellies, these creepy men breathing down my neck? Like, ew, that does not sound fun. And then why would I pay $1,000 on top of that? And then these women are going out and buying Lululemon leggings to wear to these hookah bars. So now she just spent 1,100 because the Lululemons are like what, $100 for the leggings. So now she's spending all that money just so she could be surrounded by dust. But this girl says, I was able to find a more wealthy friend at a nicer restaurant and store in my city. She's been taking me to so many cool places and it's making me want to earn more money. Exactly. I love those friendships where we can talk about money. I actually was going to make a Patreon episode about this, but I can talk about it here. So one of the things that I mentioned in the Patreon was how for 2026, I was going to be spending more time in non-black spaces versus black because I go through different phases. Some years I care more about immersing myself into black culture, black excellence culture, not Blackistan. But other years I care more about immersing myself into non-blackness in terms of culture. And I notice with my white friends, it's much easier to talk to them about money. And I've noticed that a lot of the black girls that I've been around, for whatever reason, they seem to be more comparative about money, or they don't want to talk about money at all, or like some of them are almost braggadocious about money. It's like they use money as like a status symbol, whereas if I'm talking to my friends who are not black, they just don't really care. Or, we might both agree and say, hey, yeah, let's save money. Or, hey, do you want to split this cheaper entree so we can both save? Or, hey, do you want to split this hotel room so we can go on our road trip? I don't know. It's just different. So I think, and I'm not basing that on race because I feel like, people of any race could be rich or poor, but that's something to think about as well. But I love those friendships where we can be open, we can talk about money. And I love when I end up making a friend where she has the same mindset as me in terms of money. So yeah, that's like the best. I love that. And I will actually tell my friends, if I meet a new friend, let's say I made a new friend and then she says, "Oh, what do you like to do?" I will say anything that's cheap or free. And then I'll see how she responds. And if she says, "Ooh, girl, no, I ain't doing nothing cheap. I need to spend $1,000 on a section. Ooh, I need to be popping bottles." If she says some shit like that, dusty. She's a dusty bitch. Because that's not what I want to invest my money on. Like, I have different financial priorities. So I prefer if the girls I hang out with have similar financial priorities. So my priorities are like debt payoff or my business if I need money for that. Just money to live, savings, stuff like that. I want to use money to have better experiences or to have more convenience. So if I hear somebody complain about where I grocery shop, because I don't grocery shop at dusty grocery stores. Well, unless they have good produce, then I still will shop at the cheap stores, but it's like if I hear them complaining saying, "Why would you pay $20 for a salad?" Like if they say stuff like that, they're dusty. So that's another tip to get rid of the dusty women out of your life is to listen to what they say about money, listen to how they talk about money, if at all. Really into yellow and neon green lately. Olive and sage green too. Yes, I love the neons. And that's what I'm talking about. So many women are afraid to wear neon because they're ugly. They look ugly in the neon. They look terrible in the neon color. They don't know how to do the undertones of the neon so that it looks cute on them. They're too scared of what people would think, or they're too afraid of like being out of style. I just noticed some women, they use their aesthetic as a way to try to fit in. It's like, oh, what are all the other women wearing? Okay, let me just copy all of them. And I just think that's very lame. Like, how much of a weak ass bitch are you to the point where you have to just dress like everybody else? Oh, well, everybody shops at Zara, so I'm going to shop there. Oh, well, everybody does clean girl makeup, so I'm going to do that. Everybody wears brown eyeshadow, so I'm wearing that. Everybody does a lip combo, so I'm wearing that. Like, that's a following ass bitch. I don't really vibe with women like that. I like being around women where they have their own pedestal. And I think that your clothing and your aesthetic and the way you present yourself, that's a part of your pedestal. And also, I don't want someone who's a fucking identity swapper, a destiny swapping ass bitch. Like, oh, let me just copy everything she wears. Do you think it's best for pretty girls to attract people with honey, being sweet, or being hard to read at first? By the way, so excited to catch a live. Oh, I love your little Bratz doll. No, I think that it depends on the person. You know, two things can be true at the same time. So in my case, generally speaking, like in real life, I am very sweet. A lot of people, that's the number one personality descriptor that people tend to use on me. I know you guys probably don't believe it. Well, the Exoticals believe it, but like people who are not a part of the Pretty Girl Club, they don't believe that. They think I'm like evil or whatever. But no, I think that it depends on the circumstances. So I am a sweet person, but I do have strong boundaries as well. And I have like a strictness about me. I do have a strict side, but I don't really have to pull that out all the time. I think it depends on the location. So in a business setting, yes, I am going to be more, you know, that's why on this YouTube channel, I sound more like almost, I don't know, like assertive or something in the way that I speak. Um, but that's because I view YouTube, this is a part of my business. So this is, you know, I'm about my business on YouTube. This is not an emotional space for me. Well, I can open up emotionally on here, but yeah, I just think it depends on the setting. So it's both. You want to have both in your arsenal. You want to be able to be sweet if it calls for that. Like if you feel safe. In order to be sweet, you kind of have to feel safe. Have you ever been around women where they don't have a sweet personality? They're naturally aggressive, they're naturally mean, they're naturally defensive. Well, that's because they never had the emotional safety to be soft. And have you ever been around women where they're like, "Oh, I want to be able to be soft." Well, they're saying they can't be soft because the environment doesn't allow them to be soft. So, as far as like attracting people with honey, you can do that. I tend to be like that just in general. But if I get any inkling that somebody is taking my kindness for weakness, then they will see my assertive side or my quote unquote bad girl side, you know. So that's why sometimes people have called me fake in the past because they somehow broke a boundary. And so even though I'm sweet with everybody else, I wasn't sweet with them because I could tell that they were trying to be a bitch towards me. They were trying to take advantage of me. So they saw my assertive side. Yeah, so you know, that's how life works. It's not going to be one size fits all. So different scenarios call for different things. And also it depends on what you want. So like in my case, whenever I'm making friends, I'm definitely going to be sweet because those are the kinds of friends I want. I want friends who are sweet and kind and nice or whatever. So that's just how I am going to be. Um, yeah, but I try to have boundaries because everybody doesn't deserve my kindness. Everybody doesn't deserve access to my kindness, my sweetness, my femininity. Everyone doesn't deserve that. And then as far as being hard to read, I'm going to be hard to read if I feel like that situation is hard to read. like having on a poker face or something, or kind of like being neutral. I'm going to be neutral if I feel like the environment is neutral. If I'm in some sort of negotiation type of thing, then I will be more neutral. So examples of social negotiation would be dating. That's an example. So for example, with a man, you don't want to be super sweet just right up front, because he could take that as you like him, or he could take that as, oh, I'm going to take advantage of her now. So that's an example where I probably won't be sweet because I don't feel safe. So it just goes back to whether I feel safe or not. The beach is played out. Yeah, and it's like, I like the beach, but I view that as more of like a leisurely activity, as opposed to this is a once in a year thing. Like, is your life that hard to where you never go to the, oh my God. Does your life suck that much to where you have to plan a whole entire thing and pay thousands of dollars so you can go sit on the beach and do drugs? Like, is your life really that messed up? Because the beach, that's easy. You can take a road trip really quick. Like, I don't plan a whole entire thing or spend thousands of dollars. Maybe unless if I'm going far away, let's say I'm going to a different continent or something, okay, fine. Then that makes a little bit more sense. But if every single vacation for my entire life, it just has to revolve around the beach, and then that's all I do, it's like, ma'am, you can't afford to go on a vacation then. Just admit you're broke. You can't afford to go to a city and do activities. That's why you just want to go on the beach, because you just want to sit there. You only have enough money for a dime bag, and you just want to hit a bong on the beach. You could have done that in the United States, ma'am, and it would have been higher quality probably, because you're in a first world country. So it's like, why are you going there and like contributing to their drug economy and then like doing crack on the beach? Like, in the show Blackish, the constant jokes about the mom being mixed is annoying and funny because it's such a double standard. She's sort of a light-skinned savior. Okay, I've never seen that show, but I remember when it came out, uh, they were complaining, saying that they were complaining, saying it should have been called Mixedish. And it's funny because Kenya Barris, who I respect, by the way, he actually ended up making that show Mixedish. Mixedish. One thing I like about our community, like MLS men and women, economically, we do tend to support our own image and phenotype. Because Kenya Barris, he made several shows where he gave opportunities to MLS people. Also, Keegan Michael Key, and I forgot the other guy, Jordan Peele. Both of them are biracial men who have given opportunities to other people. Well, I don't really know what they're doing now, but yeah, so that's interesting. I'm not surprised though if they were like making fun of her for being mixed. Making friends is so hard. I think making friends is hard if your environment, if you're around your hater archetype. All of this goes back to the whole hater archetype thing. So when I hear women say, oh, I have no friends, or I've never had any friends, or I haven't had friends in 10 years, I'm like, okay, that means your environment is not a friendly environment then. If you can't make friends in your environment, the environment is not friendly. So like in my case, I changed my environment. I know exactly what my hater archetype is, and then I go for the opposite of that in terms of friendships. So I think that's very important. What's your hater archetype? What race, what ethnicity, what height, what body type? I know it sounds fucked up, but guess what? People are doing that to you. They're picking out to hate on you because of your phenotype, height, ethnicity, weight, etc. So in my case, that was how I solved the friendship issue. Always having haters, that was how I got rid of that stage of my life, because I went through that as well, more so when I was younger. And it was because of good girl syndrome. I had this mindset of, oh, I'm not going to judge her. Oh, I know she was a two-faced bitch to these other girls, but like maybe she'll be different with me. No, I think sometimes you have to hold women accountable as well and have the same boundaries with female friends that you would have had with a man. Like, okay, if this person is a shitty person in every other scenario, why would they suddenly be different with me? OMG, I'm so late. I was budgeting and they called me Exactly. Like, I've noticed that too, because I will tell my friends too when I'm on a budget, and I haven't had them call me broke, but I've been called cheap before. And it's like, no, that's not being cheap. I'm literally being responsible. I literally would rather pay my bills or save for my trips, or, you know, like just have extra money. I want to get my nails done instead, or I want to like just do something else other than spending an additional $100 at a restaurant so I can eat more calories, become more of a beluga, and then boo boo it out. You're literally paying so you can go boo boo. Just remember that. That's what you're paying for. When you're paying an extra $200 at that restaurant for those extra drinks and the extra wings and all that, you're just paying so you can boo boo it out. So, no, Keisha, you can't get mad at me because I decided that I would like to be on a budget. So, if my spending budget for going out to eat is $200, why would I double it to $400 just so I can impress you? No. I found an older YSL quilted purse at the thrift store for $199. Okay, is that a good deal? I don't really keep up that much with like the designer bags and their prices or whatever. So, my rule for myself when it comes to just money and like fashion or how I dress and all that, my rule is, am I only buying this so others can see me in it? Because, you know, how would I feel if nobody else saw me with this item? Am I just trying to buy status or what? Because if I'm trying to buy it just because others can see me in it, then that's not a good enough reason for me to buy it. Because that's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. And I'm not saying that's what this person is doing in the comment, but it just made me think of that because I told you guys about how I've been made fun of for wearing bags from Target, for example, or, you know, for like not wearing a purse that's like thousands of dollars. I don't really care that much about the whole purse thing because first of all, I'm going to destroy the purse. I've never had a purse that didn't get destroyed. So I think some people have to be honest with themselves too. Like in my case, I destroy certain things. So with my purses, you know, I carry like I put protein bars in my purses. I put like I don't know, makeup. Sometimes the makeup will like break in my purse and then there are like crumbles at the bottom of my purse and stuff. So I've had like crumbled up receipts in my purses. So I also try to make sure when I am shopping, I want to make sure I'm not shopping for a fantasy version of myself because otherwise, you know, that is dusty behavior. People who they spend all this money just to impress some white man, like shopping at Zara. If you genuinely like Zara, then that's one thing. Like in my case, I actually used to like Zara. Back when I lived, it was when I lived in another city. I used to go in there all the time and just try on their clothes and stuff. I liked their sizing a little bit better because it was more applicable for me because I'm tall, a tall hourglass. A lot of higher end stores cater to tall, thin women. Um, so I genuinely liked Zara, but I wouldn't go there if I don't like it because, oh, well, this is what white men would like. No, that's performative. That's just hyper consumer. That's overconsumption. You know, some women, they try to use consumerism as the solution to their lack of status. It's very similar to lame ass men who try to have a nice car or whatever. It's like, sir, you're still unattractive. You're still an asshole. You still have a terrible personality. So I don't care that you have a nice car or some nice Jordans on. That doesn't make you any less dusty. And I think some women have to realize that as well. So that's kind of a rule that I use for myself is like, am I only buying this so somebody can see me wearing it? Or, you know, why am I getting it? But that's cool though if they have them at thrift stores. Do you have any advice on leveling up out of career? Healthcare girly here, but I see a lot of bullies in oh yeah, don't even get me started on fucking healthcare. Yeah, nurses, doctors, medical assistants. I forgot what they're called, but yeah, in the healthcare field, I feel like HR and administrative as well. That's another field where you might deal with a lot of like basic bed. Honestly, I feel like basic betties are really they dominate corporate America. They dominate cubicle lifestyles because think about it. She's basic. I mean, so that's the best she could do is get that cubicle. That's the best she could do is like get that job and torment young, pretty girls or whatever. So, yeah, in my case, how did I level up out of my career? So, I think I told the story time of how I started this YouTube channel and everything. But basically, my passion, which is this, well, my passion is content creation. So that I always used it as an outlet. I've always created something. I've always been like a very creative type of person. When I was younger, and I'm like dating myself right now, but I used to record myself on tapes. Like I would record myself talking on a tape. So I've always been like a content creator. That's still a form of content, like audio content. Um, so I was always dabbling in my passions. Also, I don't believe in just having one job. That's part of my upbringing. I was not raised to ever just like only have this one job, this one source of income, never have anything going for myself on the side, never have some sort of side income, side hustle, or passion project that I'm working on. That's just not a part of how I was raised. That's not how I saw like the women in my family operating. I always saw the women in my family, either they would turn their passions into their job, or if they didn't, they were always still doing their passions outside of work. And then the passion it could either be monetized or they would just figure out another way to get like a part-time job so they can spend more time on their passion. So that's how I kind of leveled up was I never stopped creating content. And then this content happened to pick up. And then I noticed like, oh, wait, I could actually like replace this job. And another thing too is I was willing to be poor. So I don't look down on different socioeconomic statuses, but I think I'm speaking from a place of privilege because I didn't come from like the quote unquote ghetto or whatever. So I never really had a framework for like what it means to be ghetto or what it means to be poor. So I never looked down on it. So when I was transitioning out of my accountant job, I asked myself, I said, if Exoticals United YouTube, let's say I only make $24,000 a year. You know, let's say I'm at the poverty line for the rest of my life and I'm a full-time content creator. Would I still be happier than being an accountant and making more than that? And I was like, yes. The answer was yes for me because I loved what I was doing. And so I was willing to risk poverty so I could do this. So I think for some people, you know, they're going to have a different tolerance. That's why I said I think I am speaking from a place of privilege because I have a high risk tolerance. I don't have a fear of poverty. Also, it comes from my background as well. I have lived on my own since I was a young adult. So when I was 19 years old, you know, 20, 21, I was moving across the country. I was starting from nothing or selling. Like I've sold everything I've owned before and moved across the country with no job and no savings, just like figuring it out. So, but that's a high risk tolerance. So I think it depends on what your risk tolerance is. How scared are you? You know, you have to be, I'm just not a scary person. I'm scared of some things, but I guess I'm just not scared of like poverty. So I think it made it more plausible for me to be able to get out of my career that I was in. I was willing to risk blowing up my life so I could so I could do what I love. So I think it depends on your personality. You know, usually the types of women who switch careers all the time and stuff, those women tend to have it easier. They're going to have an easier time kind of leveling up because they know how to detach. A lot of people, they have attachment issues. They're attached to their job. They're attached to being an accountant. In my case, it was crazy because I literally worked for 4 years so I could work my way up to being an accountant. And then I actually became one and I was like, oh, wait, I don't like this. I was like, no, fuck this. So I had to detach from my old identity of, you know, the accountant. I'm this corporate baddie. You know, I had kind of this corporate baddie thing going on. This is before this YouTube channel was like a thing. So I was kind of the corporate baddie or whatever. And that was like my identity. And I didn't like that. So I was willing to give up that entire identity and the status that came with it. I was willing to potentially look like a loser. Who the hell is in their 30s and says, I want to be a YouTuber? Do you know how dusty that sounds? That would be like if I said I wanted to be a rapper. Like that sounds very dusty, but I was willing to sacrifice status so I could do what I wanted. So that's something you have to think about, you know, when it comes to your career or whatever. Why do you have that career? What does it mean to you? You know, you want to level up. What does leveling up even mean to you? Because for me, leveling up is about peace. So what made me the most depressed about my job was the bitch that I worked for, Mary, the beluga that I talked about. I did a whole episode on her. I didn't like the beluga that I worked for. I didn't like the environment. I didn't really like the tedious the aspects of the job. I didn't really like it. And then I actually would get pissed off when they would compliment me because I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling me I have all these skills and you get to decide how much I get paid. And then you're telling me I have all these skills, yet you won't promote me. You won't make me the boss. And honestly, I didn't want to be the boss. I never wanted to be the manager. I never wanted to do management. Um, and so that's something to think about. Are you more of a 9 to 5 girly? Are you a kind of an entrepreneurial type of woman? Because I never viewed myself as an entrepreneur probably until like my 30s. I always thought that I was not capable of that. But I think that that was a cultural that's the downside of WASP culture. You know, every culture has pros and cons. So in my case, you know, because of my background, kind of this suburban WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant background, I'm used to seeing people who have these really big, fancy 9 to 5s, doctors, lawyers, politicians. They work for a certain person's campaign, or like, you know, they're running for mayor. They're like an Amazon exec. They work in tech or whatever. So that was my worldview at the time. So I literally had to let go of my entire identity and worldview so I could transition out of my career. So it's like, you know, how far of a transition are we talking here? Are you just talking, oh, I want to go from nursing to like accounting? I mean, that's a pretty big transition, though, giving up nursing. But it's like, how big is the transition? In my case, I had to transition out of the entire corporate 9 to 5 structure. And I'm still getting used to it, actually. I'm still getting used to it, like financially, because I have to budget differently. You know, YouTube pays once a month. There's like it's not a salary, but it's similar to how you would get a salary. So it's like, you know, between the 21st and the 26th, you get a paycheck or whatever. Then Patreon, they pay daily. So you can withdraw from Patreon. So it's different. So the budgeting and stuff is different. If you're trying to be like a content creator, for example, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to do brand deals? I started this channel without the intention of doing brand deals. And to this day, I've never done a brand deal. And I don't want to, because I never wanted my content to be tainted, because that would go against my like my core values of happiness or whatever. So that's something to think about. I have to make more exotical friends, to be honest. Yeah, you can join the Patreon or the members page, and there's a Discord in there. And yeah, who stays in New Orleans? Oh, shout out to New Orleans. Oh my God. I love New Orleans. I'm like obsessed with New Orleans. I just feel, you know what? Whenever I go to New Orleans, I feel so like magical and like peaceful. I don't know why. I can't explain why it is. Maybe it has something to do with my family's history being from there, from Louisiana. Not New Orleans though. They weren't from there specifically that I know of. Um, but yeah, I am obsessed with New Orleans. If I didn't live in the city I lived in right now, well, I couldn't move. I actually looked into New Orleans. I couldn't move there just because I had different goals, you know, like the economy and everything. But in terms of just the culture and the history of New Orleans, I love New Orleans. Literally, one of the happiest memories of my life was in New Orleans. So, yeah, shout out to the New Orleans Exoticals. Shout out to the Creoles. The thrift store has nice quality items. Yeah, I like thrifting. Well, I used to go thrifting a lot. I haven't been in a while. It was such a good catch. CT area, anyone? Yeah, shout out to, are you talking about Connecticut? Because I really like Connecticut. I love people from Connecticut. I have never had beef with somebody from Connecticut. I always get along with people from Connecticut. I feel like a lot of them are very jovial and like joyful and friendly. And I'm like, for you to be this close to New York and to still be like friendly and like happy is crazy to me. I buy a majority of my clothes from the thrift store. Definition of soft life. Yeah, like what does the soft life mean to you? I think a lot of women, they have a male-centered version of the soft life, and that's why they're dusty bitches. Oh, by the way, that's another quality of a dusty bitch. That's part of how I keep my pedestal, is by actually decentering men. Because think about it. Think about the dustiest woman you know. Does she have a man, or did she ever have a man and that's why she's dusty? Because I guarantee her dustiness probably had something to do with the man. Maybe she got pregnant by some bum, or maybe she married the bum, or she, like, I don't know, she was cheated on, abused, etc. Or maybe she's constantly stressed out because she wants this YT man. You know, she's got limerence. She wants this dream Prince Charming knight in shining armor to come save her, and he never does. All of that hinders the soft life. So to me, the soft life is about my emotional state. How do I feel? Am I happy when I wake up? Am I excited about my life? Am I excited to create content? Do I feel a sense of peace? A lot of women don't think about that. I like their jewelry too. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Yay, I'm glad we're having this Pretty Girl Club meeting. I'm from CT. Yeah, you guys are talking about Connecticut, right? I had black friends bully me for liking Asian cultures. I am part Asian from my mom. But after they saw me make friends with Asians and some white people, they literally tried to morph into me. So it got cut off a little bit. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all. That reminded me of when I was at work, like when I used to work one of my jobs, the black people were not nice to me in my department. So they were the first people. It was an MLS woman. So I assumed that she would want to be my friend. But no, her and the zesty, unambiguous man, they ganged up against me. They didn't like me. One of them actually admitted, he said that when he first saw me, he was thinking, oh, you know, she looks mixed, so I don't know if I can trust her. That's literally what he said. He admitted that out of his own mouth. And then they naturally hazed me, so then I naturally didn't hang out with them at lunchtime because, you know, I was like, they don't like me. And so I ended up hanging out with everybody else, and they happened to be like Hispanic and white and whatever. And the non-black people in my department, they just happened to have more power. So I ended up making friends with people who were in charge. And then after that, then suddenly the black people in the department wanted to be nice because they just didn't want me to hang out with like the higher ups and get like close with the managers. So yeah, I've noticed that too. They seek after you have white validation. They view white validation as powerful. So some of them have this mindset of, if I can't be validated by white people, you can't either. But then when they see that like you don't care about their opinion, then they just want to follow you because it's like, if you can't beat them, join them. I have definitely noticed that. And I talked about it too, like in Zumba class. There was this one black girl where she was mean to me, but then once she saw that I was getting along with all the white people in the class, then suddenly she was nice. And I'm like, bitch, yeah. Pretty Exotical Goddess says, I'm so mad right now. Why are unambiguous women so rough with my hair, but the other professionals are gentle, and especially my mom is rough with my hair, and she calls me tenderhead. Oh my God, I can't stand when people say that. What do you mean by tenderhead? It's like, ma'am, you're not supposed to be ripping people's hair out. Because I used to get called that too. It's like, okay, so what am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to be hard-headed? Am I supposed to be used to my hair being ripped from my scalp? And I get so mad when I see videos of people doing baby's hair and they're like ripping it out. Your hair is so long and pretty. Why can't she just do a gentle hairstyle? The beach is played out is so true. That's funny. Yeah, like why would I want to spend all that money and time and go on a flight so I can just lay on the beach and do drugs? That just doesn't make sense. I mean, I just don't want to do that. And it's like, if you like the beach, I mean, I guess I just have an abundance mindset about the beach. Like, this is seriously no shade to the beach. Like, if you guys knew where I was from, you'd be like, oh. But it's like, when it comes to the beach, if I really loved the beach that much, then I would save my money and go move and just live in a place where the beach is. Just go live there. And see, I think that's the mindset that I've always had with vacations too. Like, I think that some people go on vacation to learn about cultures like me. And then there are other people who go on a vacation to escape their life, or maybe, you know, they're just trying to run from something. I don't view vacations like that. So, you know, I live in my dream city. I actually had to be honest with myself. And I was like, okay, I really want to live in a place that has XYZ, you know, so it's like, if you like the beach that much, just be honest with yourself. Just go move to Miami or wherever. Move to LA or whatever beach you think is the best. And then you won't be so obsessed and pedestalizing. Whatever climate you pedestalize, whatever city you pedestalize the most, go live there. Because you probably have a dream city. A lot of people go on vacations to their dream city. It's like, ma'am, stop calling it a vacation. That's your dream city. That's where you actually want to live. Stop lying to yourself. You're just tormenting yourself by not living there. You're tormenting yourself. Just save up your money, have some discipline, sell all you have if necessary, and go live by the beach if you really like it that much. I finally wore my natural hair to work, and unambiguous BWs were like, wow, I didn't know you were natural. Like, what else would my hair look like? Exactly. And by the way, that's another one of my stuck up tips is having long natural hair, because I've noticed that definitely gets you a pedestal. People worship long natural hair. It doesn't matter so much the texture. It's just more so when your hair is long, again, it points back to that whole femininity thing I was talking about, where it's kind of like it's proof that you have either extra money or extra time. Because think about how much time it takes to grow your hair to hip length. That takes years. So you have to have years of patience. You know, you have to have years of like pampering yourself or pampering your hair or having a good diet or whatever. It takes discipline. So that's another part of my pedestal. Discipline is probably the main thing that builds my pedestal because a lot of these bitches could never. So, you know, it's like you'll never be able to look at me and say, oh, she's bad body. You'll never be able to look at me and say, oh, she's ugly. You'll never be able to look at me and say, oh, she's stupid. She's a dumbass. No. So I think that's another part of my pedestal too, is having the discipline to have like a sense of dignity about myself. You know, what gives you pride? What gives you joy? That's something I like to think about. It's short, type 4 hair though too. Wow. Love you, EU. Exotical tax. Oh, I like your name. Sober Barbie Club. That's so cute. Yay. Shout out to the Exoticals who are sober. I do promote like sobriety on this channel. And, you know, it's no shade against people if you have drunk before or if you've like done drugs or whatever in the past. I'm not trying to shame you. I just, you know, I just promote sobriety because I feel like a lot of people are already trying to take advantage of exoticals. You know, people would love to see a beautiful woman out of it and being crossfaded. And, you know, they want that so they can take advantage of you. And I feel like a lot of people are also jealous of exoticals as well and will try to like spike your drinks or, you know, they may try to humiliate you if you're drunk or whatever. Maybe they try to post pictures of you like doing something crazy and stuff. So I always promote sobriety. So shout out to the sober exoticals. What are the latest fashion trends you notice in the unambiguous community? Oh, we have a whole, like I've talked about this in the Patreon. Like I put pictures up and everything. Like we literally keep up with this in the Patreon. So what are the fashion trends I noticed when, like with unambiguous women, they wear silky tops, kind of these silky, slinky, backless types of tops, or like stringy. They like strings, like the stringed up shoes, the strappy sandals, or like stuff that has a stringed up back. Um, a lot of them wear that. That's like their main fashion. Low cut, high cut, so also showing a lot of cleavage. I've noticed that they tend to show more cleavage than other groups of women on average. I don't know if that's a body type thing though. It could be maybe some of them just have bigger boobs naturally. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's the fashion trend, and it's always the clean girl makeup. Everything's brown, brown eyeshadow, brown lip, you know, dark brown eyebrows. Everything's brown. That's it. No color on their face really. I've noticed a lot of them don't, for whatever reason, they don't like bright colors in their makeup. That's another fashion trend I noticed. So, you know, if you want to stand out, stand apart from them, or you don't want to be associated with their makeup looks, you can just put some color on your face and you're automatically going to stand out. You don't fit in. Put some red lipstick on. If you're dark skinned, just put some red lipstick on. I guarantee you'll probably be one of the few dark skinned black women with lipstick on. I mean, I don't know if this person commenting is like black, white, mixed, whatever. The beaches in my state are nice, but I don't mind driving a couple hours to a different state for a change of scenery. Yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot of people's vacation mindset. You know, my question is, why are you going on the vacation? Because I notice the ones who are just trying to get crossfaded and all that, you know, that's a form of escapism. Yeah, that's a coping mechanism. Let me go to this new city where nobody knows me and then just lay out on the street or just lay out on the sand and just take in these substances and be out of my mind. That's escapism. So I try to have, like, my beauty is a form of escape. You know what I mean? Like, my femininity is a form of escape. My own status is a form of escape. My fucking bedroom is a form of escape. The fuzzy blankets that I have on my bed, that makes me feel a sense of escaping. The herbal tea that I drink, the licorice root tea and like peppermint tea, and drinking a mocha around Christmas time and having an eggnog latte around Christmas time, and then smelling the cinnamon like around December and stuff, all of that is my form of escape. So I think a lot of people, they're also not honest with themselves about what escape mechanisms they have. It's like everybody has coping mechanisms, but are yours healthy or are they not healthy? And also, do you have expensive coping mechanisms or like, money wasting coping mechanisms like the people who are using Klarna and Afterpay to get DoorDash, or they're using Afterpay and all that, or committing fraud? That's another that's actually a thing I saw recently about a cruise where this girl, she was committing fraud or something. Um or they're like charging up all these charges on the cruise, and then when they get back from the cruise, they're saying, "Oh no, that's fraud." But then the cruise people are like, "Oh no, that actually was her that was on the cruise. Like, it wasn't fraud." So I think there are also dusty coping mechanisms versus not. But yeah, so that was my point about the vacation thing too. I treat people with respect until they earn my disrespect. Exactly. And I also feel like respect is earned too. So, I'm not saying I just disrespect everyone. But yeah, I keep the same energy. So if someone is nice and professional with me, then I'm going to be nice and professional with them. Like at restaurants, for example, oh, I'm not always tipping. I don't owe you a tip. Bitch, I don't owe you any extra money. No. What was your energy like when you served me? Did you go above and beyond? Because if not, I'm not going above and beyond with a tip. Were you rude to me? Okay, then I'm not tipping. We should we should connect. I'm not tech savvy. Yay, I'm glad to see the pretty girls connecting in here. I was in a cardio kickboxing class. I'm more fit than all the other women, and they are all YT. They literally stopped speaking to me. Yeah, body jealousy is definitely a thing. Or like, I guess thin privilege jealousy. Just had someone of my hater archetype, overweight white woman, literally stick her phone in my face to show me her bank account and then ask to see mine. So classless. Yeah, it's giving hyper competitive behavior, like trying to compare lifestyles. That's insane. That's mentally ill behavior. Have you tried any new supplements or teas lately? So as far as tea, yeah, well, I don't really like the teas I'm trying, so I don't really. I mean, besides the licorice, but I've been drinking that one for years. The new tea I tried, I didn't really like it, but I will say that ever since I started back drinking tea this month, my symptoms are down. So when I say symptoms, I mean like PMS symptoms, cramps, headaches, just stuff like that in general. All these like minor symptoms, even like muscle cramps and muscle soreness, it seems to go down. And I think part of it could be from like just hydrating myself more. And I think another part is from having all the minerals and stuff in the tea. The bags are usually 1,000 and it's super good quality. I'm tired of destroying purses. The good ones really last. I put everything in a bag too. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the quality definitely matters. I mean, I love a good, I actually like big bags because I do a lot of, I work for myself. I use my laptop a lot, so I have to carry tote bags. So I love a good, strong tote bag. I'm a work in progress. I think it's also about accepting yourself through the process. Yeah, exactly. Like when I'm 40, I'll be shopping for Brahmin bags. They last forever. I don't know if I said that right. OMG, I just seen a comment where someone said they had a person show them their bank account and asked to see their. I had this happen before too. I feel so seen in the pretty girl community. Yeah, that's crazy. People asking to see direct bank accounts. Yeah, that friendship was over before it started. They heavily compete with us on everything. That's crazy. Whatever happened to boundaries? People are weird AF. Yeah. I mean, That tracks though with jealous people. They do ask to see like your bank account, maybe even like your DMs, your messages, your text messages. IDK how to tag people in my comment, but I'm not sure why they are so bold with the disrespect. We never get treated like regular people, yet they always want to call us regular. Exactly. It's like, if I'm so regular, why are you bowing down and worshiping me, bitch? I'll never let people police my clothes. Pretty women can make anything look cool. I'll wear Hoka's one day or Nike. Exactly. When you're pretty, and also if you have pretty body privilege, or like maybe you're at a healthy weight or something, you have a nice figure, you're going to make everything look pretty and like expensive and effortless. So you don't have to spend like $10,000 on a pair of shoes because you're already pretty. Nobody's looking at your shoes. They're looking at your face card. Like you can still capture attention and you still have status without the $10,000 shoes. So I think sometimes people who are a bit more materialistic, I think sometimes it's about them trying to buy status. They're trying to purchase attention. So then they get mad at you like, "Hey, why aren't you spending all this extra money on getting attention?" It's wild. I'm not sure how to tag either, but that's the only time anyone has been so forward with money stuff. She got mad because I wouldn't let her into my apartment so she could. Oh, yeah. Like I told you guys, I don't remember if I did it on the Patreon or if I talked about it on here. I cut a girl off because she was way too eager to see my apartment. And also, I noticed that she was comparing herself to me and my friend. Me and my friend, we both live in a part of town where, when you say the neighborhood, people are like, "Oh my God, what?" And so this girl, so my friend is nicer than me. My friend is more like relaxed. So my friend allowed me to bring her to her apartment. And as soon as we walked into my friend's apartment, this girl was looking all around. She was like in awe. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, I want to save up my money so I could live here one day." And me and my other friend looked at each other like, "Girl, this is a cheap apartment." Like, what are you talking about? This is not expensive. This is normal. And we're not rich, by the way. Me and my friend, we are both like middle class. But this girl, I didn't know it at the time, but I guess she lived with neighbors, or I mean she lived with roommates. So after she was in awe about my friend's apartment, then she tried to invite herself to my apartment. And she was like, "Oh yeah, we can just go to your apartment or we can go to mine." And I was like, "Okay, I don't mind going to your apartment." And then she tried to switch it up and she tried to make it so we could go to my apartment. And I said no, and I just went home. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Like, sometimes people, they don't want to be your friend, they just want access to you. They just want to, like, be a monitoring spirit, basically. And so, anytime I notice someone where they're comparing clothes or cars or, like, I don't know, anything regarding socioeconomic status or any form of status, they're comparing dating app likes and all that shit, or like social media likes and friends and comments and stuff. That's a huge red flag. I had a woman, also overweight white woman, follow me home from work because she didn't believe I lived where I lived. I lived and worked downtown, and everyone at the job lived and worked downtown too. Yeah, I think some people, they underestimate, and you know what? I love that. That's a part of my pedestal. Allowing people to underestimate me. I love when people think I'm just a dumb basic bitch and then it turns out that like I'm doing better than them in life. I feel like they copy what they can without putting in effort to be skinny, like our hair and makeup. Exactly. The hater lady had the exact same nails I had last time I seen her. Copycat syndrome. There's this chick in my workout class that is like 40 years older than me. She's an older white woman. She has the eye for my husband. What the heck? But they shit on everything you do. Yes! They shit on everything you do and then copy it weeks later down to the T. Yeah, and I'm not surprised about the husband thing. Somebody like wanting to steal your husband or whatever, or like they always do that shit. You can't be stuck up if you're unattractive. It won't end well. Exactly. I agree. You don't have anything to be stuck up about. How do we know if we're attractive? I talk about that on this channel a lot, like pretty privilege and stuff like that, and kind of like what are the markers of pretty privilege? What's the difference between being pretty versus being quote unquote medium or average or quote unquote basic. Um, yeah, so I mean, for this person commenting, I'm not sure if this channel is for you just because, based on the question you're asking, generally speaking, attractive people do know that they're attractive because society treats them as attractive. I mean, I don't know if you're a girl, if you're a guy, or what. Girl, yes, I like to be free to do what I want, but I still want to make good money as well. I'd be getting bored quick working for a company. Yeah. No, I literally want to move away so bad. The economy is trash. Yeah, it depends on what country you're in. If you're in the United States, the economy is not the same for every state. So, that's something to look into as well. Or at least that's something that I care about. That's something that I looked into before moving. Um, what's the economy like? Also, whatever your job is, that's another thing that I decided too before I moved to the city that I lived in was, okay, I know that I want to work in finance. What cities have a lot of finance jobs? Or I know that I want to work in this area. What cities have resources basically. Um, but yeah, some people will move abroad as well. That's another thing to think about. But then you also have the issues that come with, culture shock or living in a different place. So that kind of depends too. Like, are you mixed? Are you already multicultural? Is that already a part of your culture? Because if so, then you may not have as hard of a time. But yeah, hold on. I'm just drinking some tea. Handsome men and beautiful women are on a completely different field than average people. Yes, I agree. Ways of life and principles can't be applied to both. You'll get very different results. Once again, I agree. So I don't know if this is a new person to this channel or what, but yeah, pretty privilege is real and people react differently to you if you're considered attractive versus unattractive. And yes, that is true for both men and women. Pretty in Between says, "Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Be sure to follow Pretty in Between. Be sure to follow all the other channels. There's Pretty in Between. I can't even remember all of them right now. There's the Black Exotical, the Exotic Brown Skin, um, Exotical Honey, I think. I don't know. There are just so many other ones. Anyone in modeling here? Yeah, there actually are some of the Exoticals who do modeling, acting. Some of them do singing, like they do covers and stuff. Still here, just listening and getting ready for tomorrow. Hair, shower, put away my cooking, and bed soon. Maybe journaling. I'll see. Yay! I love journaling. I journal every single day. Pretty women just cannot have normal jobs, especially if you're black or black adjacent. I also notice when they see me talk to YT people, they just stare and switch up on me. I don't get it. Yeah, I've talked about how pretty women have to be rich. And so I just think that our 9 to 5 culture in America, it's just not set up for you to be rich. You're not really going to get rich off of a 9 to 5 job. I think when people get 9 to 5 jobs, they think they're going to be responsible with the money. They think they're going to take their 9 to 5 money and just invest and like do all this perfect stuff and it's going to work out. But it rarely ever ends up that way. Yeah. No, for real. If I'm going to go on a beach, I'll save up and take a trip to Jamaica or Turks. Yep, I love meditating and writing on the beach. So I moved to a city near the ocean. Exactly. Exactly. I think a lot of people vacation to whatever is secretly their dream city. So, okay, so for example, if I'm going to vacation in the United States, yeah, I might vacation to certain cities like New Orleans, for example, but that's not my dream city. I don't like New Orleans better than the city I'm in. I mean, I love New Orleans. Like, I would love to visit there and stuff. But yeah, I think that's a major difference too between people who pedestalize vacations versus not. And that's another thing. People bragging about vacation or like they just have to post everything on the fucking vacation. I'm like, bitch, we don't care. Or they have to announce to everybody that they're going on vacation. They just, that's all they talk about is, oh, I'm going on vacation. Look at my vacation, 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 vacation. And it's like, that's the only time that they ever post anything is when they're on a vacation. So it's like, I can tell that they just kind of pedestalize it. And I can also tell that some people wish they lived in the cities that they're vacationing to. And it's like, just be honest with yourself. Just move to Mexico or wherever. But yeah, that's what I did. I actually moved to, like, that's how I knew that it was my dream city, is because, I kept wanting to travel there. I would always try to find a reason to go there, or I would try to make an excuse to go there, or, I was always watching videos and stuff about that city. So instead of just fantasizing, I took action and just moved to where I wanted to live. So now I don't have that same urge anymore where it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go to this vacation. I have this exact experience. Even as a top performer in the work setting, there's always some form of sabotage. This girl says, I do my own hair exclusively after years of having my childhood hair taken care of by grown adult women who called my 3B, 3C hair as they called it 4C, as if it's an insult because they were detangling it wrong. Yeah. I've been around people that have done stuff like that too. Like when they don't know how to do your hair, or when they haven't seen hair like yours, then they like mislabel it, or they try to humble it basically. Oh, your hair's nappy. Typical talking points. Yes, when I do vacation, it's more of an adventure. I explore, but I got shamed because I didn't go to a beach. What? They told me to step my game up, as if I don't go to the beach once a week. Yeah, exactly. It's like, ma'am, I don't have to copy what everybody's doing. I'm not a basic bitch. Everybody wants to go to the beach. Okay, great. I've been to the beach enough times. And like I said, the beach is still beautiful, but it's like I've been to the beach enough times. I don't pedestalize certain climates. Oh my God, it has to be sunny. That's another thing about the weather. It has to be sunny. No, actually, I'm multifaceted. I love the fall. I love the snow. I like the rain. I like when it's when it's like overcast and cloudy. So no, it doesn't have to always be fucking sunshine and rainbows. Like a lot of people are just idiots. They're literally just like, they believe all those commercials. Cause think about all the commercials and stuff that come on. It always does show a beach or like a cruise or something. It's like, no, you're just a dumbass consumer that just watches fucking commercials, or like you're just being advertised this stuff and you're blindly following advertisements. Sober Barbie Club says, so sad, and saw my ex go through it with jealous male friends trying to fight him because he looks better. Yeah, male pretty privilege, or like handsome privilege, that is definitely a thing. I don't tend to talk about that on here though, because this channel is decentered for men. But yeah, I think that more handsome men, they should make channels and talk about their experiences. And I didn't really see a lot of men making channels in this sector until my channel came along. So I'm still waiting for my credit as well. I've been doing fasting. The discipline makes me feel so confident. Yeah, I feel like such a badass whenever I'm disciplined with my diet. And I did a fasting experiment in the Patreon. I don't remember how long I fasted, but I definitely felt confident. I felt this sense of calm too, because I do feel like sometimes with food, I can be very like, oh my gosh, I have to have my proteins, and like, oh, I need to go to the store right now because I only had 60 grams of protein. So now I have to immediately drop everything I'm doing and go get protein. And so when I was fasting, it helped me to realize like, no, don't worry, you're still going to survive. You'll be okay. It just helped me to realize how sometimes we are just kind of falling for the marketing. You're not going to pass out and die because you didn't have 100 grams of protein. So Sugar and Sin says, imagine going to high tea in New York and someone trying to throw shade at me because I wasn't at a beach. All they do is sit at a beach and get high and fight each other and try to find tricks. Yeah, exactly. It's like, ma'am, you're just walking up and down on the sand getting burnt up by the sun. You can't swim. You're just sitting around getting salt all in your braids, getting salt all in the crochet. So it's like, yeah, there's other stuff to do in this world other than just go to beaches. And usually, if people love the beach that much, they're just going to go live by the beach. They're going to go live by the beach, or they will go drive to the beach on weekend trips all the time. And so they don't pedestalize it. They don't put it on a hierarchy. A lot of people they try to put vacations on a hierarchy, and it's like, you can't do that to other people. How are you going to try to enforce your vacation standards onto me? Like, that's mentally ill behavior. That's all the girls I work with. They always wear blush and pink lipstick. I can't even drink yet, but I don't get the appeal of alcohol. Like, if you have to put hella juice in it and syrup, is it really good? Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't drink. And I mean, I feel the same way about a lot of processed drinks as well. Speaking of escape, one of my haters stayed in an Airbnb in my in my luxury apartment. I live in downtown and posted a bunch of pics on IG, captioned a little piece of luxury. That is a great stuck up tactic. That's hilarious. She stayed at an Airbnb in your building. Yeah, they were Airbnb-ing in my building too, and they got in trouble because you're not supposed to do that. So her little piece of luxury was my everyday reality. Do you know how good it was to comment, LOL, you're all dressed up, posing in front of my mailbox? Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm a big proponent of just being honest about your dream city or your dream neighborhood. You know, what makes you feel the most rich or the most luxurious? Is there a way that you can just go ahead and move there? What are you willing to do so you can move there? Like in my case, when when this one girl that I used to hang out with, because she ended up like going broke or whatever, because she couldn't afford, because she paid for an apartment over here. Well, it was like a couple neighborhoods over from this one. And then she got a hella expensive BMW truck SUV type of thing. And so then she couldn't pay or whatever. And she literally lost everything and had to move back in with her parents. She had to move back out to like, the country, whatever country town she was from. And it's like, why don't you just admit where you really wanted to live and just live within your means as well? And you don't have to go into debt in order to do that. And if you are going into debt, I hope you're paying it down. Any neurodivergent exoticals? I want more channels about this subject. Yeah, there are in the Discord. Um, I feel like people just throw that term around though, neurodivergent. People will accuse you of being stuck up anyway, so might as well be. Right, I'd rather be stuck up than be a bottom of the barrel, trashy ass bitch. I know I'm attractive and get attention, but I have such a perfectionist mindset, and it's stopping me from living my life. Yeah, perfectionism is kind of like anxiety. It's more so just like a fear of rejection. We do have we have like a mental health support group in the Discord. That's where we talk a little bit more about stuff like that. I've talked about like social anxiety and things like that. But I think perfectionism is kind of like the fear of people seeing your flaws. This stream is healing me so much. I needed to hear all of this so bad. Thanks, EU. It's rough out here. Yeah, it's pretty dusty out here in these streets. So, we have to have our pretty girl club meetings. Same. Please go live every night. I'll try to go live as much as I can. I moved to my dream city and it was the best decision I ever made. Yeah, same. Like when I lived in the ghetto, I told you guys about it, how I have been willing to live in the ghetto so I could live in my dream cities. So that's what I did. That's how I started when I was moving to these cities because I'm not one of those people that tries to live off my parents or, expects mommy and daddy to pay for everything. No, I try to be a responsible adult. So it's like whatever I can afford, that's where I can go. So if the best I can afford is being in the hood or being on the outskirts of wherever I'm trying to live, then that's where I'll start off. That's not where I'm going to finish, but if I have to start off where it's not as luxury, then, I mean, I've done that before. I don't do it anymore, but I did it before when I was younger. Oh, nice. I'll be around one day. Hey, y'all. I highly recommend moving abroad. I'm getting dressed for an acting gig in Japan today, actually. See, look at the Exoticals. We're all over the world. And that's awesome. Congrats. Japan is beautiful and you will love it. I was there 2 years. See, look, another Exotical lived in Japan. I was there 2 years. The people are amazing and you'll never want to leave. No, I love the aesthetic of winter, but it would be better if I didn't always get sick. Can you live some male channels that relate to us? Oh, can you name some male channels that relate to us? So I've never seen any of the MLS male channels specifically mention my channel or the Exoticals, but I think there are some. They talk more about the male experience, and I will say a lot of them are like red pill, or they have more of that type of mindset. That was the main reason I stopped like collaborating with them, because this space actually used to be a co-ed space back when I first started. For those of you who are like the OGs, you know what I'm talking about. Like we used to do live streams and stuff. Like I used to stream with some of those creators. Most of them are gone now, but yeah. I prefer spring. Summer is way too hot for me. Plus, I do have heat trauma. I've been in Japan for a few years now, thanks to my job. I love it here. I plan to stay until I retire. That's awesome. I love how Exoticals United is naturally just so funny. Yeah, I'm such a troll on the internet. Like, I don't know. I just love being able to troll on here. I can't figure out how to tag people in here. I think you do the @ sign and then you do their name. Where I live in Europe, most women my age are thin like me, so privilege stacking has been helpful to stand out more. Yeah. Well, Exoticals, my voice is getting a little bit raspy. It's getting a little bit late. I've been on here for 2 hours, but I love you guys. I hope you guys feel stuck up, conceited, and I hope your superiority complexes are going strong. No, I'm kidding. But I'll talk to you guys later. Stay pretty, ladies.